You can draw this in Procreate. In today's tutorial, I'll show you how to draw 6 fun and simple flower doodles that absolutely anyone can do. I'll walk you through each one step by step so you can practice different shapes, line work, and some fun little details on your iPad. We'll be working on the standard 2000 by 2500 pixel canvas, and I've left a link to the brushes we'll be using down in the description below. So if you're ready to go, let's draw together. Let's start off by grabbing the only brush we'll be using today. It's part of the Illustrator starter kit, and if you don't already have it, go to the goodie bag at prettylittlelines.com to get it for free. And in there you'll find the sketching pencil and a load of other goodies. So here's our sketching pencil. It's just in the Character Design Academy. It's a little sample from that course. So that's what we'll be using today for our simple little flower doodles. Okay, let's have some fun. Get started. I have my brush around 25, the size, and just making sure that you have the opacity all the way up to 100. So let's just start with a little line like this. And you can just do a little kind of squiggles like that. And let's have just some loops. Just a few loops, they all come into the center, just like that. And then behind, you just do the same thing. And it looks like it's that full flower. Then you can come in and do a few lines like this. Lighter pressure at the top, push with the pencil down at the bottom. It just creates that nice look. You could even do some on the other side if you'd like as well. Lovely. Okay. And then let's have another one, but let's have it curving. Let's see, is that going to be okay? I think so. It's just maybe a little bit too long. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just make that a little bit shorter and a little bit more curved because I kind of still want it to marry with this, like not too far out. I just want it to be like kind of more like that. Okay. And then same thing, little squiggles. And then let's do our little loops. Something like that. And then having your lines come in. All right. Now let's finish up with a few little leaves. I feel like this is too far away. So what I'm going to do is just go to my selection tool with freehand and add. Select it. I'm just going to take this, select it, tap on my arrow, and we can just move it up. That's the joy of drawing digitally. We can just fix things a little bit like that. That looks better to me. Okay, so then I can fit a nice little leaf in here, and that fills that negative space much nicer. Okay, so we can do the same thing here. Maybe there's one coming off this part. All right, so then you can go and shorten that too if it's a little bit off there. Okay, so we can do some lines here if you want to add a little bit more detail to your leaves. Just trying to make them so they match up a little bit nicer. There we go. Okay, lovely. So that's good for that one. So we can turn that off, create a new layer. Let's do something that would be considered more of a filler sort of flower. It would be kind of heather-like. So what I'm going to do is just draw a couple of lines here and having them all joined together. Maybe a little sprig over there, something like that. And these are really simple. So all we're gonna do is you know what? Actually, I'm going to leave it like this, and then I'm going to just turn this down because we're gonna have to be erasing otherwise, because the lines will be going through the flowers. So we can just turn that down, create a new layer, and then just go ahead and do loop, loop, loop. Super simple. That's all we're doing, and we're just following the line. So, and just spacing them, you know, irregularly apart, and just like this. Super easy. But it's great because sometimes you just need little filler flowers. All right, last little bit. Well, actually, might do a little sprig at the bottom too. Super simple. And then maybe just like a little rogue sprig here. Okay, great. And then we can have, actually let's put our lines in. So now we can connect them without having to redo anything or erase anything. It's just a little bit easier. Okay, and then maybe a few little leaf type, very skinny. Maybe that's even still too thick. Kind of more like that, maybe. It's probably good. Something like that. I still find that too. I think I want it really sticky. All right. And then we can turn off that layer, get rid of it actually, swipe to the left and tap on delete. And you can just have these come in like that. Perfect, a little heather. I hope you're having fun enjoying this tutorial so far. If you'd like to take your drawing and painting skills in Procreate to the next level and do it in a way that feels relaxing and joyful, then check out my courses over at prettylittlelines.com. You'll find lots of different styles, step-by-step lessons, and in-depth teaching that I'm sure will spark your creativity and inspire you. There's something for everyone, especially beginners, and I think you'll really enjoy what's waiting there. I'll leave a link for you in the description below so you can check it out. But for now, let's jump back into the lesson and keep creating together. All right, let's turn off that layer, create a new layer. Let's just do sort of, again, in the lines of the filler kind of look, let's just do some leafy filler. So I will just, maybe I'll map this out again as well. So I'm just gonna have more of a V shape kind of thing like this. And then maybe we'll have another little rogue bit here, 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 something like that. Maybe I'll have like two coming out there. And yeah, something like that. Sort of like a V with a little rogue bit. Okay, so it just should be irregular, not totally perfect. So we can just turn that little guy down, create a new layer on top. And for this, we're just gonna do nice and simple leaves. You can have your lines a little jaggedy too if you want, not so perfect. And then we'll just have like a little simple berry type bit, just like that. Just be filling in the gaps. And then let's have this come up and maybe one not too far away. And now another one here. I feel like this is too much the same, so maybe I'll just add another one. So it's different than this, they don't look identical. I could even go ahead and just make this leaf kind of curve the other way, so it's not, actually I can never draw it that way. So it's like this, maybe, so it's not identical to that, that's a bit too matchy-matchy. Okay, let's just have this, and another little berry, and another little berry. Something like that. I mean, you can even have another one going out here if we wanted to do that. Maybe that's nice too. So there's a nice little filler with some berries. I'll just turn off that, and that looks good. Let's turn off that layer, create a new layer on top, and we'll continue on with some flowers. So for this one, let's just sort of, again, map this out a little bit just so you know where we're going. I'm gonna have flower here, flower here, flower here. So pretty standard arrangement. This one, actually, I want to make sure that they all come together. So maybe I'll just erase this actually, I'll just erase this like this. So we have two here. I want them to be close enough together. And then this one, because this is coming down like this, I'd like this third one to overlap that stem. So just be mindful of that when you're bringing in this arrangement. And the stems will be like this. We'll have a leaf over here, leaf over there, one over there, and lastly here. So that kind of is a nice kind of composition. Okay, so I'll just turn that down. Let's create a new layer on top. Okay. So just a little button center or square, like, do you know what I mean? Like these a little bit more squared off petals. There we go. And the little button. Try to keep them even as much as you can, but they don't have to be perfectly placed because they have the gaps. You can have more of a gap, less of a gap, and that's okay too. All I want here, just when I'm doing this, to make sure that I'm going to be going over this stem here. So I'm just gonna maybe do that one first to establish that. It'll just create a little sort of knot so they're all perfectly placed. When they interrupt each other like that, it does make it look intentional and a little bit more natural too. Okay. So then we can just draw this stem coming here. Actually, I don't want it to go right there, so I want it to be passing through all of them there, like that. And then we'll just have our little, gonna make it like that. Whoops, let's try that again. Something like that. And then this one, I'm gonna have coming like that maybe. And this one will be coming down as well. I don't really want it to meet maybe like that. Put the leaf there. Leaf there. And this one, you can do stuff like this where it's not attached. I mean, you can attach it or you can have it free floating. That's just a doodle, right? It's not supposed to be realistic. So you can just have kind of like this. and have it like that. Sometimes that makes it kind of fun too. Okay, so you can turn off and get rid of that sketch layer. And let's just give ourselves a little detail. Just a few. Okay, you can put a few in here as well if you wish. You can even do stuff like this. You can make a little line and little dots if you want. If you want a little stylized version of it, maybe just at the top like that. Oops, I'm probably gonna have them a little lighter and then figure as they go like that. That's kind of fun. Anytime you can add a little fun detail, just makes it look a little bit more original. Okay, lovely, another little flower doodle. Okay, so let's just turn that layer off and create a new layer. I'm just gonna get rid of this old sketch layer that I didn't want anymore. All right, so then we can go ahead and move on to our next flower, and let's just do, there'll be a bunch of flowers, so again, let's map it out. So we'll have a nice bunch. We will just do kind of a cluster of 4. So having them not perfect, like that, and then maybe one here, and then maybe something like that. Okay. So then it's gonna just be kind of a regular, like kind of connecting, maybe a bit curves, and then something like that. And then that can kind of come in there. That probably makes sense. And you can kind of have a thing here. And the leaves will be kind of connected to that. Okay, so now that you have just sort of a collection of 4 here and then 3 underneath and some wiggly lines that connect them. Okay, on a new layer, let's just turn down that sketch and let's do these flowers. So for our first one, I'm going to do something a little bit different where we're going to have kind of like a petal that goes in front. If that makes sense. So all you're going to do is have a scoop on the bottom and just sort of wiggly on top. You're going to have a center, and then you're going to just draw the petals behind. Just like that. Okay, same with here. So we can draw the center first if you like to sort of know where it is. And then maybe this one will be kind of coming forward. You can kind of see that it dips there. And then you're going to have one here. Just simple flowers. Maybe angle this one this way. Just wiggle. Actually, I don't want it like that. I want it this one and then this to be behind. It's going to help show the direction, even if this is a little bit shorter. It's going to show that it's facing that way a little bit more. A little center. Okay. Maybe this one will be a little bit smaller. It's nice to have a little bit of variety that makes sense. You know, just that it's like a newer one, but it still can't be way off that it doesn't fit the collection here. So that's all right. Looks good. And then this one again, having it on an angle. All right, and our last one. Okay, so now that we have those in place, we can connect everything and make it a bit jaggedy if you want. So it's not just all smooth lines, or you can have smooth lines, one or the other, but I'm going to do a little bit more jaggedy this time so it has more angles to the branches. Okay, and then we can go and do our leaves here as well. So let's just do just loops. Then this one can be like from the side there if you want something different. And have a few out here too. Just find the spots that look like they need a little something to balance it out, depending on how your line work ended up. Okay, so we can get rid of that sketch again, and we can of course go and do a few lines here. Now this one, because it's in front, the lines wouldn't come this way. They would come this way to the bottom, to like the cup of the flower. So that those lines just really help. So this one would be going this way because you'd be seeing the inside. Same with this. If anybody sees me twiddling my pen constantly, it's because my nib is kind of scratchy on one side and it makes a terrible scratching noise and it just feels awful. So it's worn out, and I have ordered new ones, but they are not here yet. So if anyone else has had that problem, let me know. It's just I finally wore this one out. But that's why I'm like constantly twiddling this around, because there's one spot that it won't do it and it'll work properly. All right, so there is our lovely bunch of flowers. Okay, so our last but not least are sort of a peony type thing, I guess. We'll say that. And let's map this out together. Okay, so I'm gonna do sort of a circle here, a small circle here, and maybe a medium size, kind of like that. So these will be connected. We'll have some leaves coming out there. And this one will be like that. Hopefully you can see I'm not drawing it very dark, am I? Sorry, there we go. And then this one is like this. We'll have our leaves here, leaf here, here. Just do like that. Okay, so that's our general design or composition for this. then I'm going to turn down that opacity, and let's create a new layer and start this. Okay, so this is actually going to be pretty simple, but it looks pretty. So just draw a wiggly circle with kind of some loops like this. So you're just going to have sort of regular bits going around the circle. Okay, that's it. So then in the center, we're just going to draw a bunch of little circles, something like that. And then you're just going to draw a wiggly line, a wiggly line. You get the idea. It's pretty simple, just like that. And then we're going to do this one over here. So we're going to draw more like a cup shape. So if you go and draw a rounded bottom, doesn't have to be perfectly straight or perfectly smooth, but do a rounded bottom and then a wiggly line. And then around here, just going to finish the other side like that. Then inside, you're going to draw down close to your wiggly line here. This top part of this flower, just draw a few circles and then a wiggly line around like that. This one is going to be the same thing. Wiggle lines. Maybe not too have them bigger loops. Kind of like that. Something like that. Circles in the middle. And then a few wiggly lines like that. Perfect. Now we're just going to connect everything and add some lovely leaves. So let's just have a leaf that's kind of peeking out there like that. It's going to connect there, and it's going to, let's have a side, like on its side leaf, and it's, now I'm going to have to make a space for it here. So have it come up and go behind this, like that. I'll put the lines in so you can tell what I mean. So it's going to be like that. Okay. And then let's have this come here. And we'll have our lovely leaves. Again, I want this to come behind. They're going to be a little bit jaggedy. Like that. It's good if your hand's not super steady. It's easy to do these jaggedy lines because you just wiggle your brush with the pressure. It makes these lovely, nice variegated leaf look. And you can have a leaf that has like a big chunk out of it too. Kind of makes it a little interesting. Okay, so let's just get rid of that old sketch and just put all of our line detail here on our leaves. So I am having these lines matched up. So that they come together in the center. Okay, lovely. All right, and that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed drawing some floral doodles with me today. If you did, I'd love a like and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much so I can bring you more tutorials just like this. So love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.